The wedding dress felt like a shroud as Lily Chen stood at the altar, her hands trembling as she faced the man in the wheelchair. Alexander Blackwood, the billionaire her father had sold her to like cattle to save his failing company. The man the world called the Broken King after the accident that took his ability to walk. But as the priest asked if she would take this man as her husband, Alexander's eyes met hers, and she saw something that made her breath catch. Recognition. Raw, unmistakable recognition. "We've met before," he said quietly, ignoring the priest's startled expression. 3 years ago, the masquerade ball in Venice. Lily's world tilted. The masked stranger. The one night that had changed everything. The man whose touch had awakened something in her she'd spent 3 years trying to forget. Her first, her only. And now... "I do," she whispered. Not because her father demanded it, not because of the contract that would save her family from ruin, but because the universe had just played the cruelest and most miraculous joke imaginable. Before we dive deeper into this story of fate, secrets, and unexpected love, I want to know, where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments below. And if you're already intrigued by this twist of destiny, hit that subscribe button to see how Lily navigates a marriage that began with force, but might end with something neither of them expected. The reception was a blur of congratulations Lily couldn't process. She moved through the crowd like a ghost, smiling when expected, nodding at appropriate times, all while her mind raced. Venice. 3 years ago. She'd been there for an art exhibition, young and hopeful, celebrating her first major sale. The masquerade ball had been magical, a night where she could be anyone, do anything, and she had, with him. "You're thinking about it," Alexander's voice cut through her thoughts. He'd wheeled himself onto the balcony where she'd escaped for air. In the moonlight, she could see the strong line of his jaw, the dark hair that her fingers had once tangled in. "How long have you known?" she asked. "Since your father brought your photo 3 months ago. Imagine my surprise when the woman he was offering as collateral for his debts turned out to be the artist who disappeared from my bed without even leaving her name." Heat flooded Lily's cheeks. "I didn't know who you were. If I had, you would have run even faster?" His smile was bitter. The great Alexander Blackwood. "Even then, before this," he gestured to the wheelchair, "I was someone women wanted for my money, my power. Never just for me." "That's not why I left," Lily said quietly. "Then why?" She turned to face him fully. "Because what happened that night scared me. It was too intense, too real. I was 22 and thought I was playing at being sophisticated. Then I met you, and suddenly I was feeling things I didn't understand. So, yes, I ran. But not from your name or your money. I ran from the way you made me feel." Alexander was quiet for a long moment. "And now? Now that you're trapped in a marriage you didn't choose?" "My father's debts are paid," Alexander interrupted. "The contracts are signed. Your family's company is safe. You could ask for an annulment tomorrow and I wouldn't stop you." Lily stared at him. "What?" "I may be many things, Lily, but I'm not a man who keeps unwilling prisoners. Yes, I agreed to your father's proposal, but not to trap you." His eyes darkened. "I wanted to see you again, to understand why a night with a stranger 3 years ago ruined me for anyone else." "Alexander, the accident happened 6 months after Venice," he continued. "A car crash. Drunk driver. I spent a year learning to live without my legs, and through all of it, I thought about the artist with the midnight blue mask who laughed at my terrible Italian and made me feel more alive in one night than I'd felt in years." Lily's throat tightened. She remembered that night too. His warmth, his unexpected gentleness, the way he'd looked at her paintings in the gallery like they were treasures. She'd told herself it was just attraction, just chemistry. But standing here now, she knew it had been more. "So what happens now?" she asked. "Now we go back to our guests. We play the part of newlyweds. And tomorrow, you decide if you want to stay married to the crippled billionaire who's been dreaming about you for 3 years, or if you want your freedom." He turned his wheelchair to leave, but Lily caught the handle. "Don't do that." "Do what?" "Call yourself that. Reduce yourself to your disability and your bank account. You're more than that. Am I? His voice was challenging. The world sees a broken man who can't even stand to kiss his bride. Your father saw a desperate buyer willing to pay any price. What do you see, Lily? She moved in front of him, sinking to her knees so they were eye level. It was the same thing she'd done in Venice when she'd found him sitting alone on a balcony, looking lost despite being surrounded by admirers. I see the man who spent 3 hours discussing art theory with me, who made me laugh until champagne came out my nose, who touched me like I was precious and powerful at the same time. She reached up, cupping his face the way she had that night. I see you, Alexander, just you. He caught her hand, pressing it against his cheek. This isn't Venice. The mask is off now. In the morning, you'll see the reality, the medications, the physical therapy, the limitations. The fairy tale only lasts one night. Maybe, Lily said, or maybe the fairy tale was just the beginning. They returned to the reception, playing their parts, but something had shifted. When Alexander took her hand during their first dance, him in his wheelchair, her standing but bent close, it felt less like performance and more like promise. That night, in the penthouse that was now her home, Lily stood in the doorway of the master bedroom, still in her wedding dress. Alexander was already inside, transferring from his wheelchair to the bed with practiced movements. I had the guest room prepared for you, he said without looking at her. Third door on the right. Your things have been moved there. Is that what you want? He stilled. What I want hasn't mattered since the accident. I've learned to live with disappointment. Lily entered the room, closing the door behind her. You're doing it again, deciding for both of us. Lily? No. You gave me a choice about the marriage. Now I'm making a choice about tonight. She reached for the zipper of her dress. Unless you're saying you don't want me. Alexander's hands clenched on the bedsheets. You know that's not true. Then stop pushing me away. The dress pooled at her feet. I'm not here out of obligation, Alexander. I'm not here for your money or because of my father's debts. I'm here because when I saw you at that altar, when I realized who you were, my first thought wasn't horror or regret. It was relief, because I've spent 3 years trying to forget that night, and failing. She moved toward him slowly, giving him time to stop her. He didn't. When she reached the bed, she climbed up beside him, her hand finding his. The accident doesn't change who you are, she said softly. It doesn't change how you made me feel then, or how you make me feel now. You don't understand. His voice was rough. I'm not the same man I was that night. Physically. Then teach me, Lily interrupted. Show me what's different. Help me understand. But don't make decisions for me based on what you think I can handle. Alexander studied her face, searching for pity or obligation. He found neither. You're sure? We've been circling each other all this time, Lily said wonderingly. Connected even when we thought we'd lost each other. Maybe some things are just meant to be, Alexander said, pulling her closer, even if they take the long way around. The next morning, Lily woke to find Alexander already up, sitting in his wheelchair by the window watching the sunrise. She wrapped herself in a robe and joined him, sitting on the arm of his chair. Regrets? He asked. None. You? Only that it took so long to find you again. He pulled her into his lap, and she curled against him. Though I suppose if we'd met again before the accident, things might have been different. Different doesn't mean better, Lily said. Maybe we both needed to become who we are now to be ready for this. The artist and the broken billionaire? The woman and the man, Lily corrected. Everything else is just details. Over the following weeks, they built a life together. It wasn't always easy. There were adjustments to make, prejudices to face. The media had a field day with the story of the forced marriage, painting Lily as either a gold digger or a saint. Business associates wondered if Alexander had lost his edge, marrying a nobody artist to save her father's company. But inside their penthouse, away from the world's judgment, they were just Lily and Alexander. She converted one of the spare rooms into a studio, filling it with canvases and light. He worked from home more often, claiming he concentrated better with the sound of her painting nearby. "You're staring," Lily said one afternoon, not looking up from her canvas. "I'm appreciating," Alexander corrected. "There's a difference." "And what exactly are you appreciating?" "The way you bite your lip when you're concentrating, the paint in your hair, the fact that you're wearing my shirt and nothing else." Lily turned, paintbrush in hand, a wicked smile on her face. "Mr. Blackwood, are you trying to distract me from my work?" "Mrs. Blackwood," he replied, "I would never. I'm simply observing that your current state of dress is not conducive to productivity." "Oh?" She moved toward him slowly. "And what would you suggest?" "Less shirt," he said immediately. "Definitely less shirt." She laughed, but before she could respond, his phone rang. Alexander frowned at the display. "It's your father." Lily's playfulness vanished. She hadn't spoken to her father since the wedding. The man who'd sold her to save his company had tried to contact her several times, but she wasn't ready for that conversation. "You should answer," she said quietly. "He's still your business partner." Alexander took the call, his face growing darker with each passing moment. When he hung up, he was gripping the phone so tightly Lily thought it might break. "What is it?" "Your father's been spreading rumors, suggesting that our marriage isn't legitimate, that it's a business arrangement that should be dissolved now that his debts are paid." Alexander's jaw clenched. "He's shopping around for a better offer, someone who'd be willing to buy out my stake in his company if you were to become available." Lily felt sick. "He's trying to sell me again?" "Apparently, he thinks he undervalued his asset the first time." Alexander's voice was ice. "He mentioned that the Yamamoto family has a son who needs a wife. They're offering double what I paid." "I'm going to be sick," Lily said, and meant it. Alexander caught her hand. "Hey, look at me. He has no power here. We're legally married. More than that, we're really married. He can't touch what we have." "But he's my father," Lily said, tears starting to fall. "How can he think of me as something to be traded again?" Alexander pulled her into his lap, holding her as she cried. "I don't know, love. Some people see the world only in terms of profit and loss. But you're not alone anymore. You have me, and I protect what's mine." "I'm not yours," Lily said automatically. "No," Alexander agreed. "You're not. Poor phrasing. Let me try again. I protect the people I love. And Lily, I love you. Not because of Venice, not because of the marriage, but because of who you are. Your strength, your art, your terrible coffee-making skills." "My coffee is not that bad," Lily protested, laughing through her tears. "It's terrible," Alexander said firmly. "But I drink it anyway, because you make it for me with love, and that makes it perfect." Lily kissed him, tasting her own tears. "I love you too, even if you are an insufferable coffee snob." "Especially because I'm an insufferable coffee snob," Alexander corrected. "Now about your father. How do you want to handle this?" Lily thought for a moment, then straightened. "I want to face him, but not alone." "Never alone," Alexander promised. The meeting was arranged for the next day. Lily's father arrived at their penthouse, looking older than she remembered, worn down by months of financial stress despite Alexander's bailout. "Lily," he said, trying for fatherly warmth, "you look well." "I am well," she replied coolly. "No thanks to you." "Now, daughter, let's not be dramatic. I did what I had to do to save our family." "You sold me," Lily said flatly, "like property, and now you're trying to do it again." Her father's mask of concern slipped. "I'm trying to ensure you have the best possible future. The Yamamoto offer—" "There is no offer," Alexander interrupted, his voice deadly quiet. "Because Lily is not for sale. She never was. You paid. I paid to save your company," Alexander said. "The marriage was your condition, not mine. I would have helped regardless, but you insisted on treating your daughter like collateral. That ends now." Lily's father turned to her. "You could have so much more. The Yamamotos have connections in the art world. Their son isn't limited." The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Lily stood, moving to stand beside Alexander's chair. Limited, she repeated. You think Alexander is limited? This man built an empire. He saved your company when no one else would. He gave me a choice when you gave me none. The only limitation here is your inability to see people as more than their monetary value. I'm your father. No, Lily said firmly. A father protects his daughter. He doesn't auction her off to the highest bidder. You lost the right to that title the day you walked into Alexander's office with my photo like I was a piece of merchandise. Her father's face flushed. You're being naive. In a year, 2 years, when the novelty wears off, when you're tired of being nursemaid to a cripple. The sound of Alexander's fist hitting the table silenced him. But it was Lily who spoke, her voice low and dangerous. Get out. Get out of our home and don't come back. The contracts with your company will be honored because Alexander is a man of his word. But you and I, we're done. Lily, get out. After he left, Lily stood shaking, adrenaline and grief warring in her system. Alexander reached for her, and she collapsed against him, not crying but trembling with rage. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry for what he said. Don't, Alexander said firmly. Don't apologize for him. His words reflect on him, not on us. When he said those things about you, I've heard worse, Alexander said. From board members, from competitors, from people who think a wheelchair makes me weak. But you know what? Every time someone underestimates me because of my legs, I destroy them in business. It's become something of a hobby. Despite everything, Lily laughed. Remind me never to underestimate you. You never have, Alexander said, tilting her chin up. From that first night in Venice, you saw me, just me. That's worth more than all the business victories in the world. They were quiet for a moment. Then Lily asked, what do we do now? Now? Now we live. We build our life together. We prove every doubter wrong by being disgustingly happy. He smiled. And maybe we host a party. Show the world that the forced marriage they've been gossiping about is the real thing. A party? I'm thinking masquerade theme. For nostalgia's sake. Lily smiled, the first real smile since her father's arrival. I still have my mask from Venice. So do I, Alexander admitted. Kept it in my desk drawer like a lovesick fool. We're quite the pair, aren't we? The artist who ran away and the billionaire who couldn't forget. The perfect pair, Alexander corrected. Though I do have one question. What's that? In Venice, you left before morning. No note, no name, nothing. If you felt what I felt, why did you run? Lily was quiet for a long moment, gathering her thoughts. Because I was scared. Not of you, but of myself. Of how much I wanted to stay. I'd gone to Venice to celebrate my independence, my career. I was young and thought I had to choose between love and art, between being someone's partner and being myself. And now? Now I know that love isn't about choosing between things. It's about finding someone who makes you more yourself, not less. She cupped his face. You've never asked me to be less than I am. Even that night in Venice, you were interested in my art, my dreams. You saw me as a whole person. While you saw me as just a man, Alexander said. Not the Blackwood heir, not the business prodigy, just Alexander. Just Alexander, Lily agreed, though there's nothing just about you. They spent the rest of the day planning their party, a public declaration of their real marriage. But that evening, as they lay in bed, Alexander grew quiet. What is it? Lily asked, recognizing his thinking face. I want to tell you something. About after the accident. Lily propped herself up, giving him her full attention. The doctors said I might walk again. With surgery, extensive therapy. The chances were small, but... He trailed off. But I said no. He met her eyes. Everyone thought I was crazy. My family, my doctors, my board of directors. Why wouldn't I try everything possible to walk again? Why didn't you? Lily asked gently. Because I realized something. The world had always seen me as Alexander Blackwood, heir to billions destined for greatness. No one ever just saw me. Then the accident happened, and suddenly I was the poor crippled billionaire, pitied, but still not really seen. Alexander. But then I remembered Venice. A night with a woman who didn't know my name, didn't care about my money, and made me laugh until I couldn't breathe. I realized that maybe, if I could find her again, she'd see me now, like she saw me then. Not despite the wheelchair, not with pity for it, but just me. Lily's eyes filled with tears. So you waited. I waited. Turned down surgeries with minimal chances because I needed to know, could someone love me as I am? Not as I was, not as I might be again, but as I am right now? He touched her face. And then you walked down that aisle, and I had my answer. I love you, Lily said fiercely. Every part of you. The legs that don't work, the hands that do, the mind that sees possibilities where others see limitations. All of you. Would you love me if I could walk? The question surprised her. Of course. Even if it changed things. If I became the man the world expected again. Lily considered this. Would you still be you? Still make terrible jokes about your wheelchair being a throne? Still work too hard and brood too much and look at my paintings like they're miracles? Always. Then I'd love you walking, rolling, or flying. The method of movement doesn't matter, you do. Alexander pulled her down for a kiss that said everything words couldn't. When they broke apart, he said, There's a new treatment. Experimental, but promising. I've been thinking about trying it. What changed your mind? You, he said simply. Before, I was afraid that if I could walk again, I'd never know if someone loved me for me. But now I know. You loved me in Venice when I was whole. You love me now when I'm not. That certainty, it frees me to try. Whatever you decide, Lily said, I'm here. Surgery or no surgery, walking or rolling, I'm here. I know, Alexander said. That's why I can finally try. The masquerade party was held 3 weeks later. The who's who of society filled the Blackwood ballroom, all in elaborate masks and costumes. But all eyes were on the hosts. Alexander in a perfectly tailored tuxedo, Lily in a midnight blue gown that matched the mask she'd worn in Venice. They look happy, someone murmured. It won't last, another replied. These arranged marriages never do. But as Alexander and Lily danced, her bending gracefully to match his seated height, him spinning his chair with practiced ease, their joy was undeniable. They moved together like partners who'd found their rhythm, each movement a conversation, each touch a promise. People are staring, Lily murmured. Let them, Alexander replied. They're witnessing something they don't understand. What's that? True partnership. Equal souls finding each other against all odds. He spun her out and back. Plus, we look amazing. My wife is the most beautiful woman here. Flatterer, Lily accused, but she was smiling. Truth teller, he corrected. Though I might be biased, I've been in love with you for 3 years. Only 3? I've been in love with you for 3 years and 3 months. Impossible. We met 3 years ago. Ah, Lily said, but I fell in love with your laugh first. That took an extra 3 months to recover from. They were so absorbed in each other that they didn't notice the woman approaching until she spoke. Alexander. They turned to find an elegant woman in her 50s, her mask doing nothing to hide her identity. Mother, Alexander said, his voice neutral. I didn't know you were in town. I came for the party, to meet the woman who accomplished the impossible. She turned to Lily. You must be the bride. Lily, she said, offering her hand. It's nice to meet you, Mrs. Blackwood. Is it? The older woman's tone was cool. I wonder. Tell me, my dear, what's it like being married to my son? Is the money worth the inconvenience? The room around them seemed to quiet, sensing drama. Mother, Alexander warned, but Lily squeezed his shoulder, stepping forward. I'm sorry. I think there's been a misunderstanding. I'm not married to your son for money. I'm married to him because I love him. Love? Mrs. Blackwood laughed. How quaint. And I suppose this love just happened to bloom after he paid your father's debts. Actually, Lily said calmly, it bloomed 3 years ago in Venice, when I didn't know his name or his net worth. It survived years of separation and forced arrangement, and now apparently the disapproval of a mother who should be proud of the man her son has become instead of seeing him as diminished. Mrs. Blackwood's face flushed. How dare you, Lily interrupted. How dare you walk in here and insult your son's marriage? His choice is his life. Alexander is brilliant, kind, funny, and strong. He built an empire, survived a devastating accident, and still has more humanity in his little finger than most people have in their entire bodies. If you can't see that, if all you see is the wheelchair, then that's your loss. Lily, Alexander said softly, but she wasn't done. You know what? I should thank you. Your absence, your disappointment, your inability to see your son's worth, it left room for me. So thank you, Mrs. Blackwood, for being so blind that I get to be the one who sees him clearly. With that, she turned back to Alexander. Want to get some air? Desperately, he said, shooting his mother a look that promised a future conversation she wouldn't enjoy. They escaped to the same balcony where they'd reconnected on their wedding night. Below them, the party continued, but up here it was just them. That was... Alexander seemed at a loss for words. Too much? Lily asked, suddenly worried. I know she's your mother, but... He cut her off with a kiss. Perfect. You were perfect. No one's ever defended me like that. Get used to it, Lily said. I protect the people I love too. My fierce artist, Alexander murmured, slaying dragons in designer gowns. Only the dragons that deserve it. She paused. I'm sorry about your mother. I know that must be hard. She's been like that since the accident. Can't accept that her perfect heir isn't perfect anymore. He shrugged. I stopped trying to please her a long time ago. Her loss, Lily said firmly. My gain, Alexander countered. If she'd been supportive, I might never have developed the strength to survive, might never have been ready for you. They stood together, watching the city lights, comfortable in their shared silence. Then Alexander spoke again. The surgery is scheduled for next month. Lily turned to him. Are you sure? I'm sure, not because I need to walk to be whole, you've taught me I already am, but because I want to dance with you properly, travel without limitations, chase our future children around this penthouse. Children? Lily raised an eyebrow. Eventually, Alexander said, if you want, though I should warn you, any child of ours will be terrifyingly stubborn. And brilliantly artistic, Lily added, and absolutely convinced they can conquer the world. Well, with us as parents, they wouldn't be wrong. Alexander laughed, pulling her close. No, they wouldn't be wrong at all. As if summoned by their conversation about the future, Lily's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then froze. What is it? Alexander asked. Wordlessly, she showed him the screen. An email from a prestigious gallery in Paris, offering her a solo exhibition, the opportunity of a lifetime for any artist. Lily, this is incredible, Alexander breathed. When? 6 months from now. She bit her lip. Right when you'll be in recovery from surgery. So I can't leave you, not then. Alexander turned his chair to face her fully. Lily Chen Blackwood, if you even think about turning down this opportunity, I will wheel myself to Paris and accept on your behalf. But no buts, we're partners, remember? That means we support each other's dreams. I'll have the best medical team money can buy. You'll have the exhibition you deserve. We'll video call every day and I'll fly over the moment I'm cleared to travel. You'd do that? I'd do anything to see you shine. He took her hands. Besides, I've always wanted to see you in your element. The artist conquering Paris, I'll be your biggest fan. You already are, Lily said, tears threatening her makeup. Then it's settled. You'll paint masterpieces in Paris while I learn to walk again. Then I'll join you, and we'll scandalize French society with our dramatic love story. I love you, Lily said. Have I mentioned that recently? Not in the last 10 minutes. I was starting to worry. She kissed him, pouring all her love and gratitude into it. When they pulled apart, the party inside was winding down, but neither wanted to return. We should go back, Lily said reluctantly. It is our party. In a moment, Alexander said. I want to remember this. You and me, on a balcony, planning our future. Full circle from Venice. Except now we know each other's names, Lily pointed out, and we're married. And your mother hates me. And you're going to be the toast of Paris. And you're going to walk again. Maybe, Alexander said, but even if I don't, even if nothing changes, we'll still have this. Us. That's enough for me. More than enough, Lily agreed. It's everything. They returned to their guests, to the whispers and speculation, to a world that would never quite understand them. But it didn't matter. They'd found each other across years and circumstances, through betrayal and forced arrangements, past disabilities and doubts. The girl who'd been sold to save her father's company had become a woman who chose her own fate. The billionaire who'd been broken by accident had discovered he'd been whole all along. Together, they'd turned a forced marriage into a love story worth telling. As the last guest left and they retired to their bedroom, Lily reflected on the strange path that had brought them here. If her father hadn't been desperate, if Alexander hadn't been in that accident, if she hadn't run away in Venice, change any one thing, and they might have missed each other entirely. "What are you thinking?" Alexander asked, watching her from the bed. "That I'm grateful," Lily said, joining him. "For all of it, even the hard parts. Even your father selling you. Even that. Because it brought me home." She curled against him. "You're my home, Alexander. However we got here, I'm grateful. My midnight artist," he murmured into her hair. "My fierce defender. My unexpected wife. My masked stranger," she replied. "My stubborn husband. My perfect match." Outside their window, New York glittered with a million lights, a million stories. But inside their room, there was only their story. Improbable, difficult, beautiful, and entirely theirs. The forced marriage had become a chosen love. The broken billionaire had found wholeness in partnership. The sold bride had discovered her own power. And somewhere in Venice, a ballroom balcony stood empty, waiting to welcome them back someday, not as strangers hiding behind masks, but as themselves, complete and unashamed. 6 months later, Lily stood in her Parisian gallery, surrounded by paintings that told their story. The centerpiece was a massive canvas, 2 figures dancing, one standing, one seated, their bodies creating a single fluid line of connection. She'd titled it Unbroken. Her phone buzzed with a video call. Alexander's face filled the screen, bright with excitement despite the exhaustion around his eyes. "How's the opening?" he asked. "Terrifying. Exhilarating. I wish you were here." "Soon," he promised. "The doctors say 2 more weeks. But forget about me. Tell me about the gallery. Is the lighting right? Did they hang the Venice series where we discussed?" Lily turned the phone, giving him a tour. "The critics are calling it raw and revolutionary. One said I'm redefining how we see strength and vulnerability. That's my girl, changing the world one canvas at a time." "How was therapy today?" she asked, noting the way he shifted in his chair. "Brutal. But I stood for 30 seconds, alone, no support." His grin was boyish. "I may have cried. The nurses pretended not to notice." 30 seconds is amazing," Lily said, wishing she could hold him. "I'm so proud of you. Save the pride for next month. I plan to walk into that gallery and sweep you off your feet, literally. I'll hold you to that, Mr. Blackwood. Please do, Mrs. Blackwood." A curator appeared at Lily's elbow, whispering that the ambassador had arrived. She needed to go play artist and schmooze. "Go," Alexander said. "Conquer Paris. I'll be watching the live stream." "I love you," she said quickly. "I love you too. Now go show them what the girl who was too good for Venice can do." The opening was a triumph. Every piece sold, critics raved, and Lily found herself fielding offers from galleries across Europe. But her mind kept drifting to New York, to the man working so hard to heal. 2 weeks later, she was in her Paris apartment when a knock came at the door. She opened it to find Alexander standing in the hallway, supported by a cane but on his own feet. "Surprise," he said, grinning at her shocked expression. Lily launched herself at him, careful of his balance but unable to hold back. He caught her laughing, spinning them both despite the protest from his legs. "You're here! You're standing! You're—" "About to fall over if we don't move inside," he admitted. "Turns out international flights right after major physical therapy breakthroughs aren't recommended. Who knew?" She helped him inside, to the couch, but couldn't stop touching him. His face, his shoulders, making sure he was real. "The doctors cleared you to travel?" "Not exactly," he admitted, "but I couldn't miss another day. Your exhibition, Paris, I needed to be here." "Alexander Blackwood, did you escape from physical therapy?" "Escape is a strong word. I prefer early graduation." He pulled her close. "I'm fine, Lily, better than fine. I'm walking, sort of, and I'm in Paris with my wife. Life doesn't get better than this." She kissed him, tasting determination and joy, and that uniquely Alexander mix of stubbornness and sweetness. When they broke apart, she said, "The gallery wants to extend the exhibition 3 more months." "Perfect. I'll work with the Parisian office. We can scandalize French society just like we planned." He paused. "If you want me here, I don't want to intrude on your moment." "Our moment," Lily corrected. "Everything is ours, remember? Besides, half these paintings are of you. It's only fair you be here to glare at anyone who doesn't appreciate them properly." "I don't glare." "You absolutely glare. It's very attractive." They settled into Parisian life with surprising ease. Alexander worked from the apartment, building his strength with a French physical therapist who scolded him in 2 languages. Lily painted in a studio with perfect light, creating new works inspired by their journey. One evening, as they walked slowly along the Seine, Alexander still using the cane but growing stronger daily, he stopped suddenly. "What is it?" Lily asked, concerned. "Do you need to rest?" "No. I need to do something I should have done properly the first time." To her amazement, he lowered himself carefully to one knee. "Lily Chen, you were forced to marry me, sold by your father, trapped by circumstances, given no choice in the matter. But here, now, I'm asking you to choose. Will you marry me again? For real this time? Because you want to, not because anyone makes you." He pulled out a ring, not the simple band from their rushed ceremony, but something that took her breath away. A sapphire the color of Venetian midnight, surrounded by diamonds like stars. "Alexander," she breathed, "I know we're already married, but I want to do it right. I want you to walk down an aisle you choose, in a dress you pick, surrounded by people who love us. I want to stand, really stand, as you come toward me. I want the world to know that Lily Chen chose Alexander Blackwood, not because she had to, but because she wanted to." "Yes," Lily said, dropping to her knees beside him. "Yes to all of it. Yes to choosing you every day for the rest of our lives. Yes to a wedding that's ours. Yes to everything." He slipped the ring onto her finger, where it caught the light like captured starfire. Then they were kissing, kneeling on a Parisian bridge while passers-by applauded, probably thinking they were watching a proposal rather than a re-proposal. "Though I have one condition," Lily said when they finally stood, Alexander only wobbling slightly. "Name it. We go back to Venice for the honeymoon, full circle. Deal. Though this time you're not allowed to run away before morning." "Never again," Lily promised. "You're stuck with me now." Thank God for that. The second wedding was everything the first wasn't, held in the Blackwood estate gardens, with only their chosen family present. Lily's mother walked her down the aisle, having flown in from California. Alexander's sister stood as his support, having long ago chosen Lily's side over their mother's disapproval. But the moment that made everyone cry was when Alexander, who'd been waiting in his wheelchair to conserve strength, stood as Lily approached. No cane, no support, just him rising to meet her. The effort was visible, the slight tremor in his legs, but he stood tall and proud as she reached him. "Show off," she whispered, taking his hands. "Had to impress my bride," he whispered back. The ceremony was simple, the vows personal. Alexander spoke of Venice, of loss and finding, of a woman who saw him whole when he felt broken. Lily talked about choices, about love that transforms, about a man who gave her freedom when she'd been sold. When they kissed, it was as equals who'd chosen each other despite everything, or perhaps because of everything. The reception was in the ballroom where they'd held their masquerade, but this time there were no masks. Just friends and chosen family celebrating a love that had survived the impossible. "No regrets?" Alexander asked as they danced, really danced, him standing, her in his arms. "Only one," Lily said. He tensed. "What?" "I should have left my name in Venice. Could have saved us 3 years." Alexander laughed, spinning her. "But then we wouldn't have this story. The forced marriage that became real love. The broken billionaire and the sold bride who saved each other." "When you put it like that, it does sound rather romantic." "The most romantic," he agreed. "Though I could have done without your father's involvement." Speaking of which, Lily nodded toward the door, where her father stood uninvited but hopeful. Alexander's arms tightened around her. "Your choice, always your choice." Lily considered the man who'd sold her, who'd tried to sell her again, but also the man who'd raised her, who'd made terrible choices from desperate circumstances. One dance, she decided, for closure, not forgiveness. Alexander kissed her temple. "Whatever you need." The conversation with her father was brief, awkward, but necessary. He apologized, badly. She accepted it without absolving him. They danced once, a daughter and the man who'd been her father, before he became her seller. Then she returned to Alexander, to her chosen family, to her real life. "Thank you," her father said as he left, "for letting me see you happy, for becoming more than I ever dreamed, despite what I did." Lily just nodded. Some bridges, once burned, couldn't be rebuilt, but they could be acknowledged, honored for what they once were, then left in the past where they belonged. The night ended with just her and Alexander on the balcony, Venice masks in their hands, wedding gifts from each other, a reminder of where they began. "Think we'll still need these?" Lily asked. "Never," Alexander said. "No more masks, no more hiding, just us, exactly as we are." "Walking and all," Lily teased. "The walking is nice," Alexander admitted. "But you know what's better?" "What?" "Knowing that you loved me before, that you would have chosen me either way. That makes every step worth it." "Every step," Lily agreed. "Though I still love your wheelchair. It's part of our story." "Our story," Alexander repeated, and God, what a story. "Think our kids will believe it?" "Our kids will probably think we're making it up. Forced marriage, secret identities, Venice masquerades. It's all a bit much." "Good thing we have proof," Alexander said, holding up his mask. "And paintings, and a very well-documented society scandal." "And each other," Lily added. "That's the best proof, that despite everything, or because of everything, we chose each other." "And we keep choosing each other," Alexander said. "Every day." "Every day," Lily agreed. They stood together, looking out over the estate gardens, where they'd just pledged their lives to each other, again, properly this time. In the distance, the lights of New York glittered like earthbound stars. Somewhere in Paris, Lily's paintings hung in galleries, telling their story in color and form. Somewhere in Venice, a ballroom waited to welcome them back. But here now they had everything they needed, a love tested by fire and emerged stronger, a partnership built on choice rather than force, a future stretching before them, bright with possibility. The billionaire who'd been called broken had found wholeness in love. The bride who'd been sold had discovered her own power. Together, they'd turned the worst circumstances into the best outcome, proving that sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin with the words, "I have no choice," and end with, "I choose you." And in their bedroom that night, 2 masks hung side by side, not needed anymore, but kept as reminders. That love can find you in the most unexpected places, that people are more than their circumstances, that sometimes being forced together is just fate's way of making sure you don't miss your chance at forever. The forced marriage was over, the chosen marriage had begun, and Alexander and Lily Blackwood faced their future together, unmasked and unafraid, ready for whatever came next. After all, they'd already survived the impossible. Everything else would be easy. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey of love, found, lost and chosen again. If Alexander and Lily's story touched your heart, reminded you that love can bloom in the most unlikely circumstances, or gave you hope that every ending can be a new beginning, please take a moment to subscribe for more stories of unexpected love and second chances. Drop a comment below sharing where you're watching from. And remember, sometimes the love we're forced to accept becomes the love we'd choose 1,000 times over.